Radio Hereford FC, the only station with full match commentaries of the Bulls. Every game, every week.
Well, hello again and welcome to We're Going Down the Pub with me, Frank Williams, and we're still in the Edward VII here in Hellzone with...
still on the same first pint?
Still on the same first pint, yes.
Yeah, we're very busy doing
that.
We're
ploughing through a few ground guides tonight and we're here to give you our ground guide to Gosport Borough. My goodness me, did we not want this on a Tuesday night?
No.
That's, some of these Tuesday nights, the price we're having to pay for our cup runs earlier before Christmas, and this one is dreadful for a Tuesday night.
Yes,
it is absolutely dreadful.
It's a lot of miles, and
it is.
It's unfortunate for Richard Tompkins, who literally spent a lot of time in the summer visiting Gosport.
And it does take a lot of time to visit it.
It does,
even in the summer.
And he courageously visited every port in Gosport and every pub in Gosport, and most of those in Portsmouth as well.
Yes, and we're going to miss out on all probably one.
Yeah, I mean, there's basically one nearby that's possible. Everywhere else it's not going to happen, unfortunately,
unless you travel. Well, do you know what? If this was anything else but Tuesday night, well, it could even be an overnighter. I can see some of the broadcasting a lot. We may very well travel down fairly early on the Tuesday and then stop overnight, come back on the Wednesday morning, because it is such a long way.
So I think it's about 140 from the Shire, and for us Black Country Exarch is 170, which is even sillier, but there you go.
That's right. Anyway,
King's Lynn in reverse.
Anyway, let's get on with it.
Yeah, if we'd have done this on the original date, I think it'd have been very different, but so much has changed at Gosport in just a month since the date of the original fixture. Another new owner. This one is a former chairman of Portsmouth FC, and he was the guy who led the fan takeover campaign, so he sounds a very sensible guy. The new chairman has immediately placed a former manager back in charge, which has really, really annoyed the manager who's been managing with absolutely nothing this season, because understandably he thinks he's had run the club with both hands behind his back, and now somebody else has just walked in. So it's all change again for Gosport. New chairman, new manager, etc. They swapped their chairman and manager and every player last summer.
Right.
So just silly, 3 years ago they just missed the step 2 playoffs, so they are really bumping along the bottom. Little bit of good news: they've had their transfer embargo lifted. I mean, at times they were picking literally from 12 players, that's all they got fit. So they've managed to bring in some loanees. The results have got a bit better, not much, but they now lose by fewer goals than before. They've only won 2 games. They managed to beat Dunstable, the other poor sods at the bottom, at home, and Farnborough away. Farnborough is such a weird team. Yeah.
Mind you, Farnborough, they come to us and win.
Yes.
And in the following week lost 4-0, didn't they? Somebody ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's the nature.
They come and they go. I mean, Slough hammered them, Farnborough, just a couple of weeks ago, 5-1. And as we speak, Gosport are bottom, Unlike Dunstable, they rarely get hammered. So let's not imagine it's going to be a Hereford turkey shoot. I can just see Gosport playing police ball. Everybody.
That'll be hard to
all 11 in their half.
A bit like going to Wantage, if you remember that one.
Yes.
Everybody was putting 9 or 10 past them, and we managed to scrape 1-0, but they put everybody behind the ball. But as we said at the time, that's all right. We'll take 1-0. We'll always take 1-0. Some teams are going there and win 4 or 5 or 6, and then lose a couple of games. That's fine. We'll just keep grinding out wins.
They don't lose by many, so please don't be carried away. Now, as well as thanking that very nice Mr. Tompkins, we also must thank Bob McHale of the Gosport Academy, who showed our man around. Privet Park, it's a curious mixture of the old and the new.
Privet Park, is it
Privet
surrounded
Park.
by hedges? You'd expect it to be surrounded by hedgerows, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Privet hedges would be right. Yeah.
It's surrounded by houses, actually.
Style,
but-
you know, you get them clipped into various designs, peacocks. Oh no, not peacocks. Greg wouldn't recognise it if it was a peacock.
no,
would he,
no.
No,
Cats,
you know,
usually,
dogs and cats, and
why not?
nice.
Yeah, it's that sort of area.
Sounds very arboreal, but it's not really, is it?
No. I have been there some years back, so I know exactly what Richard's talking about. It's a sort of curious mixture. The old is a large 1930s wooden grandstand.
Oh, Sutton Coldfield.
Yes, it's got similarities, it really has.
A bungalow with a pitch roof,
Yes. Not quite as high, thankfully. It's got 4 pillars, you'll be pleased to know.
Yeah, but it's wooden.
Yeah,
So you don't warn Rob, wouldn't we, about
yeah.
going up any steps?
Yeah, yes, Lord, I would
Oh,
have
dear
thought.
me,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, not only have you got 4 pillars in the way, you've actually got 2 floodlight pylons in the
gosh.
middle of the stand.
Well, Greg has already informed me he's not making the Gosport.
Oh,
he's picking them again, you see.
He is very, I don't blame him really. And that's where the broadcasting facilities are, so I think Greg must
smashing.
know that. Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
wonderful.
Now, anybody using that stand needs to be warned, the seats are hard. The majority benches, it's more benches than seats, they're even more unyielding.
Oh, we shall be all right now because
Yeah.
Joni has furnished us with some nice cushions, which she stole from an Andre Rieu concert in Maastricht last year. And they've
she
got
did.
his logo and his name all over them and his big violin. But they're very comfortable.
Good.
What they're not, though, is they're not heated. We wanted those ones you put a little battery, a PP9 in that warm them up. But no, they're not. But they make a difference even at Edgar Street. Because when the wind whistles through the bullet holes, it can get very, 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 very cold in some of these places.
So-
and there are some bullet holes. Well, there are holes in the roof of this
There
one.
are, yes.
Aren't there?
It's proper 1930 stands,
That
got
is,
holes
yeah.
in the roof. And Richard said some of them are suspiciously football-shaped, which is rather interesting.
That's because down there they have them some very suspiciously shaped footballs, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
And be aware, each of the risers, each of the steps are huge.
Oh.
So, a bit of block and tackle, I think, particularly if you're going to get right to the back for broadcasting. So,
Can they put in a stair lift before we get there?
be helpful, wouldn't it?
Would indeed.
Now, one of the weird things about it is completely jarring in its contrast. Right next door is a gleaming 2-level hospitality suite. Can't imagine they're using that very much this season, but it's sort of all glass and very, very smart and on 2 levels with balconies and all sorts. Right next to this 1930s stand. It's very strange. On the opposite touchline, and this is probably where I'd suggest people go, much better view, there's a modern terrace level grandstand. It's called a Harry Mizzen stand, so it's sort of on the entrance side, if you like. And that, among many other items, was funded by Gosport getting to the trophy final in 2014. They got buried by Cambridge United, but hey, they got there and got some money, Now that is the only real cover. There's a lot of open standing, a whole lot of bare tarmac all round, but the 2 stands probably where you need
On a
to
Tuesday night in January, on the
marvellous,
south coast, with the
marvellous.
wind whistling in off the English Channel.
Well, just to cheer you up a bit more, admission is an ambitious £12 for adults,
Right.
£8 concessions with under 12s free, but I can't imagine many under 12s will be going Tuesday night in January, but there you go. Now, I think that makes them the second highest league prices, which, frankly, is a bit of a cheat given their league position, but there you go.
But they have just come down from a step above and probably used to a little bit more.
Yes, yeah. Now, they averaged 230 through the gate, but admittedly most of those came for the first 2 games and haven't been again since. Now, they lost their first 8 home league games, so you can imagine that's bad to demoralise a few people. Now, their supporters would just love a drawn game. They get really excited by a drawn game. Conversely, I'll not known if we have one, but there you go. The club car park is tiny, room for 40 vehicles. It's not for the likes of us, Really, on-street and side-street parking are available. You've got to look quite hard. As Richard's pointed out, it's a highly residential area, multi-car families, parked cars everywhere. You may have to walk a bit.
Right.
There is a parking option at the Cocked Hat pub, which we'll come back to.
Right.
But that's your choices at the moment. Thinking of refreshments, there is a clubhouse. It's called the Inn off the Post. Very original.
In I-double-N.
I-double-N,
In
off the post.
I
yeah.
quite like that. That's quite clever.
Probably more accurately, flew over the bar might be a better one for.
Because we have seen some terribly named ones, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. Those we can get in, of course. Yeah.
Point,
50 plus seats. Good range of fizzy beers, says Richard rather contemptuously, including London Pride.
Well, the Pride isn't fizzy necessarily.
No.
And only £3.20 a pint?
Yeah,
that's all right.
For South Coast, yeah.
Mind you, get in there.
Yeah.
They won't keep the prices down in order to...
Yeah.
Still won't tempt you to go.
Yeah, there are bottled beers, usually HSP, Spitfire and Spitfire Gold.
Oh, very nice, yeah.
Try them, they're better. Otherwise, there aren't too many options. Just across the road is a chippy and a Chinese takeaway. So that's your food options if you're sorted, if you're desperate. Other than that, it's really, as we mentioned, the Cocked Hat, which is in Privet Road. It's a long road. Now,
do you know what this is beginning to sound like? This is the Fleetwood of the South, isn't it?
I suppose it is, you know.
I mean, the ground of Fleetwood might have been slightly better, but it's sort of in this residential area that is literally detached from the rest of civilization. I mean, I was stuck out there north of Blackmore at the end of this 40-mile long cul-de-sac that I keep talking about. And this one, from a point of view of accessibility, is about the same sort of thing. Who on earth in their right mind lives there?
Oh, some very, very wealthy people, I'm afraid.
Oh, right, okay.
With very, very large houses.
So it's got a bit of the Wirral about it as well.
I suppose it has, yeah. The Cocked Hat is a Green King. It's a flaming grill. Cheap food, fizzies, an acceptable cask IPA.
Yeah, Green King IPA is very, very good.
Yep, and London
Mind you,
Glory.
when it's good, it's very good, and when it's bad, it's distinctly awful.
Now you think, I mean, Richard's tried all these beers, sample them all to make sure they're good. This is really decent of him, isn't it? Really?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him since. He's still in hospital.
Okay, and sorry, if you like cider, you've got Strongbow, which is not great, but there you go. Now, the Cocked Hat, which charges £5 to use the car park, but if you're a customer, they'll refund it.
All right. Go in there, pay your money, have a pint, refund it, go to the match.
Yeah, it's a 10-minute walk, mind, but it's the easy option, if you like. And during his visit, as I said, our man Richard bravely went on to explore all the pubs in Gosport and some in Pompey as well.
And he produced a magnificent...
Oh, gosh,
brilliant,
he went up the pages,
yeah.
But...
now it's a night game.
And so nobody's going to go.
Well, you say it's going to be straight there and straight back. I don't know. If there's any B&Bs, I think they might get used up on the night. Be quite
might be right,
getting there, go on then.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's a big ask, midweek, 140 miles. If it's any... one thought to think about, it's a one-off. I think we're unlikely to ever play there again.
Yeah, although we're going to... Well, yes, because even if we end up both in the same division next at the end of this season,
same level,
we would be we were probably going to Midland, they were going to say.
Yeah.
So if you're a sort of a ground-hopping type and you think this is might be your only chance
to see Hereford at Gosport, yeah.
Unless, of course... Oh, have they been knocked out the trophy already? Would be a pity.
Everybody has, bar us in the Southern League.
Well, there you go then. So it is going to be the only chance.
Understandably, by train from Hereford's a complete dead loss. It wasn't great on the Saturday, it's hopeless on the Tuesday.
Yes, because you have to get a ferry from the...
Yes, I mean, if you are Southern Bull, it is doable from London Waterloo. It's 2 hours, and the train goes into Portsmouth Harbour. Yeah. Go across the harbour, pick up the ferry, cross whatever Solent is it, whatever the river is, and then pick up a bus to the ground. It's doable.
Of course, you can normally drive. You can drive.
Oh, you can. You can. Yeah. There is a train back to Waterloo at 19 minutes past 10. You probably wouldn't want a chance to ferry in the bus, so if you have a taxi handy, that's doable.
Okay.
Who knows what time you get back home?
Well, Reg will certainly have details.
We need Reg,
which I'm sure will be on the
I'd imagine that's
going to
be the more expensive end.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah.
Understandably, given the mileage.
You'll probably have to leave about 2 o'clock in the afternoon to get there. But God knows how we're going to do that one at the old radio. We'll have to see if we can get a car together and maybe have to stop overnight. I think it's not getting there. You can leave early enough and get there. It's then driving all that way back at God knows what time. God knows what o'clock.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's
There you
got to
go.
be done. It's
By the faithful.
it's the nature of
Yeah.
things. And don't forget, folks, we've got King's Lynn coming up later in the month, and that is potentially worse.
Yes, it is from the
Because
Shire.
it's east to
yeah.
west, not north to south. That's even
Yeah.
worse. So that will be, and of course, that's one that if anybody's going to make a long trip, that's the one they probably would want to make because of King's Lynn's position.
Exactly, that's an important game.
It is an important game. Indeed, it is. So,
There you go. We will speak
that's the
anon.
end of that one, and we will speak to you again very shortly with yet another away ground
Yep.
guide. The was it? Did you say we were 9 in this month? Is it
There's 9 matches, of which 7 are away.
7 of 9. Wasn't that a character from Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Oh my word!
7 of 9. Yeah.
Did he play football?
No, she was
She.
very voluminous. Oh yes, yes. But anyway, there you are. That's the more useless information for you. And we thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for listening.
And we'll speak again.
Speak to you both of you soon.
Bye now.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls. Match Day Live.